Chapter 5. The Scrum Roles. As mentioned previously, there are only 3 roles in a Scrum team. The power of this trilogy is that as long as each role is fulfilled, we end up with a product that is delivered on time or to scope for scope-driven projects and to a high degree of quality. We also maximize the return on investment, ROI, since it can often be a challenging task to get each role to reach their full potential and roles need to be established early on. Let us examine the characteristics and values of each role. Characteristics of a Scrum Master. A Scrum Master should understand the rules of Scrum to an expert level. This means that anyone in the organization and any stakeholder should be able to rely on the Scrum Master for advice on the framework. It requires the ability to coach, mentor, and build relationships with people at all levels of business. The role often requires a great deal of confidence and strength. This is because others may not share the experiences or beliefs of the Scrum Master, and therefore they must often be convinced that Scrum's practices will solve their issues. This is why influence, persuasion, and leading by example are such important traits for Scrum Masters. A Scrum Master is a coach to the Scrum team, and therefore strong interpersonal skills are necessary. The team should feel comfortable explaining any issues, and the Scrum Master should be happy to help even on the busiest days. A Scrum Master's relationship with the product owner is just as important as the relationship with the team. The ability to understand how to assist, motivate, and coach the product owner can turn projects around. For this reason, a Scrum Master will need to understand the personal characteristics of the product owner as well as what Scrum requires of him. A traditional project manager often performs a role of Scrum Master. This can have both pros and cons. A Scrum Master manages the framework without managing the people. However, traditional project managers may be from the command and control background, which is averse to the belief in self-organizing teams. Therefore, I suggest that any candidate Scrum Master should be ready to embrace and see the value in this new way of thinking. To be fair, many of the best non-Scrum project managers I have worked with made their name by empowering teams of experts to make decisions and knowing how to manage the process. Good traditional project managers usually have the key interpersonal and process management skills that all projects can benefit from. Prior technical or product domain experience is a strong plus in the role of a Scrum Master, since there are often situations that require you to emphasize with the team and to help them to solve problems. For example, experience in solving common problems such as setting up databases, breaking down large problems into small ones, or just plain keeping solutions simple in the first place. This experience also helps the team, since the Scrum Master can often explain technical issues to the product owner and stakeholders without involving the team, hence leaving them to get on with the work. Characteristics of a product owner. A product owner understands the vision of the business and wants to realize that vision into a real living, breathing product. Product owners are typically product managers used to managing the life cycle of one or more products. He or she is interested in getting as much value as possible from the team in order to deliver as many features as possible as quickly as possible. This often needs to be tempered with an understanding that the simplicity of the process will make the increase in value more likely. In my experience, the difference in characteristics between teams and product owners can cause heated debates where the team are concerned with building the most excellent product possible, even if it takes more time, and the product owner is concerned with building the most excellent product possible in the shortest time possible. Neither of them are wrong in their points of view, but there are often bouts of tension between the two concerns. The Scrum Master can play a pivotal role here, holding the balance, explaining the points of view of each role, and highlighting the shared goal. The idea of maintaining a product backlog, attending Scrum time boxes, and constant communication with the development team is likely to be new to most first-time product owners. It is often for the Scrum Master to coach a product owner on the benefits of framework and to help make their job as straightforward as possible. In my experience, the ability to explain how a prioritized backlog results in increased return on investment and how sprints result in a quicker return on investment are two examples of benefits that a product owner will appreciate. The product owner will need to spend time dealing with various business stakeholders, all of whom have a vested interest in the product. As the product owner has to make a final decision, this role also requires a lot of strength and confidence. Saying yes to one stakeholder can often mean saying no to another. Therefore, a certain degree of diplomacy is necessary. This is something a Scrum Master will assist with when deemed necessary or called upon. From my perspective, the key factor holding back a potentially excellent product owner is the lack of time or reluctance to maintain the backlog. The former reason should be addressed as much as possible through finding time in the product owner's schedule and emphasizing to the business how much time is needed to ensure a quality product. Again, the Scrum Master can be that added support in these situations. As for the latter reason, only a product owner can solve the reluctance, but a Scrum Master may need to motivate and coach where necessary. I have observed that any product owner who fully understands their role in Scrum, maintains the backlog, uses the power of prioritization, and works with the team to get the best product possible, multiplies the productivity of team many times in comparison to a product owner that does not. Therefore, the importance of this role should never be underestimated and should always be appreciated. Characteristics of a development team. As we know, Scrum development teams are cross-functional. However, the makeup of a team is dependent on the product. For example, a mobile app, such as that found on an iPad or mobile phone, will require developers, designers, and user experience specialists with expert knowledge in that field. A hardware project to build or research set-top boxes would need hardware specialists, architects, and designers more applicable to that domain. Deciding the makeup of a team is usually a task for the technology department in conjunction with the product owner and Scrum Master. Since Scrum Masters are usually from a technical background, they are often advisors on the makeup of the team. They should always be consulted about the size of the team in order to advise on the practicality of applying it to a Scrum project. See explanation below regarding team size. I strongly recommend that whenever possible, Scrum development team members are interviewed for their enthusiasm and suitability for a Scrum environment. This is a good move in order to help ensure that the team are open to new ways of thinking or are already Scrum-oriented. In my experience, simply quizzing a potential team member's attitude to iterational planning, daily Scrum meetings, and self-organizing is a necessary step even at the interview stage. It can help judge the suitability of the candidate, making them aware of the environment they are joining and positively influencing them before they start on the project. Once a team has been brought together, they will quickly need to agree on the definition of done. Scrum relies on the team as a number of experts well qualified to decide when a feature is done. The power lies not only in their expertise, but in the mix of skills and perspectives. Testers are almost certain to want the software to be well unit and acceptance tested. Developers are almost certainly going to want every single task completed. User experience specialists are nearly always going to want some user testing, etc. This has the effect of a certain level of quality at the end of each sprint. I mentioned this to emphasize that Scrum teams should be made up of domain experts. As long as this is the case, the team can be trusted to make judgments that lead to quality. This is not to say that every team member should have, say, 10 years of experience, since this is a judgment for the team leads who employ them. Once employed, there's still often a degree of encouragement needed by the Scrum Master to make sure that the team are coached and thinking along the lines of what makes a product shippable. Teams will often want to get information about exactly what they need to build as concisely as possible. They're often very logical in their approach to solving problems, which is what makes them good at what they do. A product owner can get the best out of a team by writing clear, concise acceptance criteria and user stories that explain exactly what is required. Scrum Masters can assist by coaching product owners on how best to relay information to the team. Scrum teams should be lean, mean, productive machines. As mentioned previously, the ideal size of a team is 7 plus or minus 2, between 5 and 9. This cannot be emphasized enough. Having a team that is too large will make planning very difficult and cause frustration. Scrum meetings will end up either with too many people trying to communicate at the same time or with the need to remove people from meetings to keep them on track. For a software project, it also often means that too many people are attempting to work on the same code base. For the non-technical reader, imagine 20 cooks trying to cook a broth at the same time, and hopefully it will paint the picture for you. In short, large teams are not conducive to good communication. Therefore, teams should be optimized as much as possible. Note: teams can also be divided and coordinated with regular Scrum of Scrums meetings, but that is outside the scope of this class. If the desire is for the split team to work in the same code base, technical teams need to advise on how feasible this is. The value of Scrum values. If we do the things we've always done, we will get the results we've always got. Scrum is about continuous improvement and adapting, which can be a new way of thinking for many people. I wrote this chapter to emphasize how this way of thinking applies to each role in terms of character. I can confidently say that the greatest benefit comes to projects in which each role understands their value in this new way of thinking and sees how smoothly a project can run once the thinking is applied.